Okay, so thank you. First of all, the first thing you're going to see about the demo is that it's fully web-based, meaning you only need to type in an address and there's nothing to install on the user. It can be run on a computer, a tablet, a phone. All you need is the web address. Second, you're going to see it's secure. It can support many types of security, meaning RecF, ACF2, by user, by group, Active Directory, and even any homegrown system. The GUI is clean, modern, and easy to use. And being easy, it's good to ramp up new users that don't know your systems. Users, especially new hires that don't have a lot of mainframe experience or knowledge of where programs are located, can use a product and become productive immediately. In our case, a new user was tasked to locate a production error message, invalid users. All you have to do was type the term invalid user, select all the information. There's 323 silos of information in the system, and click the search button. The results usually take under a few seconds. In this case, we have just searched 431,000 programs in about 2 seconds. And you can see that the results are encompassing, meaning if you look at these search result statistics here on the right, not only mainframe came back as results, but also some open, AS400s, Python, 4GL. So it's truly encompassing, allowing you to find needles in haystacks. And this means a mean time to repair, the MTTR, gets reduced dramatically. So on here we can see this is kind of the bird's eye view of where the information was found, how many programs were found, how many hits, and how many lines of code. So it gives you an overall summary. SmartES also helps to share the information with other people in the team. So great, he did the search, we know where it's used. Now we can click on the all hits report, which will show us every single line of code in every single program where this error message was found. And what's nice is that then this report can be saved into multiple formats and later can be shared with other people via email directly or viewed through the system. So if we go and look at an existing report we ran, you can see that a report, an all hits report, can be downloaded, viewed, or emailed directly to a colleague. So this was very easy for the new mainframe user who doesn't really know much to come and immediately become productive. But there's even an easier way to do it utilizing our artificial intelligence assistant, which pops up here on the right. In this case, all one would need to do is click a few clicks like impact analysis. We want search-driven analysis because we have a term to search for, which is invalid user. Next, the assistant wants to know where we want to search. We can say anywhere, or we can limit by a language, or we can limit by an environment, system, subsystem, application, and so forth. We could just limit to mainframe. Our case, we're going to do any, and then click the all hits. From here, everything is automated. The system will automatically select the data types, type in the search result, get the results, type in the all hits, and produce the report for you. So it's even easier, just 4 clicks, and you get the results you needed. That was a very simple search, a little phrase. The system can also support complex Boolean complexity searches, and this lets you rapidly scope complex changes globally across all mainframe assets and other assets as well, not just mainframe. The searches can be Boolean mixed with parentheses, mixed with proximity. I'm going to go to my saved searches in the history, just to save the time of typing it all up, and to show you that we retain all the searches, which is another benefit because users can learn from other people's searches. So experienced people who write searches such as this one can be run by non-experienced people. This is a very interesting, complex search. It'll limit the search to code, ignoring comments. Look for commands read, write, update, or delete next to files that have in them text or code. That is quite a complex search. And when you click on it, you'll see that the results will be all the places in all our mainframe that have actual commands next to those files. Again, we searched 10,000 in 6 seconds, and we're going to do an all hits report, which we will see all the different commands. There's write, read, write, and so forth. Of course, anything can be exported, again, into multiple formats and shared with colleagues. SmartDS also supports expanded JCL, allowing the users to view JCL as it is at runtime. For this, I'm going to search for a JCL called TKPP004. And now I'm not going to search on all data types because I want to limit it to the expanded data type. So I can filter anything expanded and select my expanded JCL here. And what we want to see here is first the visibility, how graphically it's easy to understand the expansion of the JCL. So a proc is inside a blue box here. With inside a blue box, we have a symbolic variable that's been expanded, overrides, parm libs and card libs, which means users can look for any portion of what the JCL will look like at runtime. This is very unique. Same thing applies to COBOL. In COBOL, there's a statement when you can do copy replacing by. So I'm going to look for all the commands of copy preceded by 20 words, replacing. And here we're going to search again only, we're going to search here only the COBOL language. And this is important because if new developers who are new to the COBOL world aren't aware of how the copy replacing works, they can be searching for items and not find them unless they search on the expanded COBOL. So first we see that there are expanded copybooks like here. This is an expanded copybook. But sometimes when you have replacing by statements, such as here, so here we have a line of code that was replaced by this line of code. And if you don't search on the expanded, you would never know that this program opens file D as file 1. So your accuracy of your work would not be correct. Another thing you can do while you're looking at code is mark any strings, any blocks of string, and annotate them, and mark them up and tag them either as a business rule or as a test rule or at an owner. And from now on, anyone looking will be able to search for a certain business rule or test rule and pinpoint this program. And anybody can annotate not just programs, you can annotate tickets, you can annotate copybooks and so forth. I'm going to perform a search now on our most centralized program here, one of the most centralized programs. And I'm going to search on everything in our system. The first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that we can flowchart COBOL modules. So here's all the results. Here's the COBOL program, the centralized program, and now we're going to flowchart the program. Again, we're looking at hiring maybe people that haven't had a lot of years experience in COBOL, and we want to help them as much as possible. We're going to select a few paragraphs that we want to analyze, view the diagram. The first level diagram simply shows us the links between paragraphs. However, we can go to the business rules view, which will show us all the if, then, else, perform, all the actual business logic that is taking place. This is a zooming out of it so you can see. We can also go to detailed view, which will add to it all the commands there are in the program. Another thing we can do is look at the source code side by side the flowchart. So a developer is now clicks on a bubble of the if then else, and he knows it's line number 1191. And as he goes down on the actual source code, the flowchart moves with him. It's interactive. And if he wants to just view the flowchart, he can go to the legend and ask to expand all the details in the bubble, in which case each bubble will contain all the text and we won't even need the program anymore, making it very simple to look at a program and understand what this program does. So for new hires, this is a priceless tool that helps them understand how their system works. And of course, as always, we can export the graphics to multiple formats. So we did a search on one of our more system centralized programs, and we found out that there's 76 modules that came back in the result. How are these modules working together, or are they working together as a unit? What are the systems and subsystems inside this group of 76 programs? One of the actions you can do is exactly that, to graphically draw how these programs work together. It's called a search, then XREF, cross-reference between all the search results. You can either select specific programs you want, or in our case, we'll do all of them. And we're going to generate a graph of how these programs work together as a unit. And what we see here is a depiction of all the 76 modules and how they work together. We could hide, for example, dataset names from the diagram, documents from the diagram. We could see, if you put the mouse on the line of code, you can see all the lines making the link. So here we see that from the proc, there's an exec PGM to the program, and so forth. Here as well, we can export for sharing this information with our colleagues and teammates. What's interesting to note here is that the chart was made not only of mainframe, but also of things like documents, like a PowerPoint that Access was talking about a program, a remedy trouble ticket that was talking about a program, a flowchart maybe. So it's really encompassing. So now we know we might be changing these 76 programs. The next thing to do is to find the complexity level so we can have some kind of level of effort. And for that, we simply switch between the search tab to the complexity tab. And we do another complexity analysis. The result we get here will help us decide, if we sort by difficulty level, will help us decide which programs we're going to disperse to which developers. Simpler programs to newer developers. We can also add some fields like lines of code, maybe cyclomatics, how many loops, and then this whole report can be exported into multiple formats, and again shared to management so they can disperse this work accordingly to the level of our developers. And the last thing I want to show you is the dynamic and static queries. So a saved query is a query that someone saved previously for someone else to run. Some of them are static, like this one. If you go to bank demo and you click, it just types in the query. And when you search, you're going to get all the places in the JCL that have puts or gets to files. And someone saved this query because this kind of query can show you all the touch points between the mainframe and other subsystems, because mainframes talk to other systems using files they send or receive. A dynamic query, on the other hand, is a query that prompts you for input and then builds the query accordingly, so every user can build the query to what they want to find. For example, in the mainframe, we have a query that says legacy value to field. Where are we moving a certain value to a certain field? This, in fact, is looking for business logic. So we're going to tell the system that in our case, I want Ys or Ns or Zs. And I want fields that have in them text or code. The system builds the complex query based on my specific needs, and now the search will pinpoint all the items that are moving those values to those fields. So here we're actually pinpointed specific business logic performing specific tasks, and the nice thing is that everyone can do it just by inputting their requirements. And I will end by talking about the help, which is very rich in content. Besides having a built-in user guide, explanation of all the complexity analysis, talking about all the search syntax and features, it also has videos that can be used to perform specific tasks. So you can just click and play all these small videos. So even the novice user can get benefit from the product.